Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Share the video, especially if you love MMA as much as I do. If you guys are still wondering why I'm not on here as much, this is why. That's my personal laptop, and I have a school one that I use for teaching. I teach also. So I'm not going to be on here as much. But I'll find a way to make more content for you guys. Okay, speaking of content, this video is about Usman fighting Edwards for the third time. As we all know, they fought twice. They've split both fights. Usman got a decision. Edwards got the knockout in his last fight. I really think this fight will be very competitive. It will be a lot more competitive than it was the last fight. I say more competitive because it obviously was pretty one-sided for the most part. Edwards did win the first round with his wrestling. He had him in a rear naked choke, and he obviously got the KO late in the fifth round. For Usman, he dominated the fight. Even the first fight, he was clearly the better fighter. I think you'll see the gap, the wrestling, the grappling gap, go from this to more like this. It'll be a lot tighter. I hate to make excuses. I don't like to make excuses on here, but it's obvious that the altitude really hurt Leon Edwards in that fight. Usman obviously prepared better than Leon did. Now, even without the altitude for this fight and the fact that it's a home field advantage for Edwards, I think that will help him, that he's not having to deal with that. Now, I'm not saying he's the better grappler. He's not, obviously, but I think it'll be more competitive. I think if Leon can keep the ratio to like 3 to 4 takedowns for Usman, and he can get 1 or 2 of his own takedowns, he will close the gap with the wrestling. And I think I do know that Edwards is a better striker than Usman. He just is. Okay? He's a better striker. Leg kicks, I would say keep him close. Try to clinch him and throw knees, step on his feet, kick him in the legs and his shins. Throw some uppercuts. Not power shots, but enough to make Kamaru think, okay, if I'm going to go low on this guy, I'm going to get hit every time. It's going to become annoying. Okay, don't fight frantic. Be kind of like what you did in the first fight as far as your pace, if I'm Leon. But I would try to keep the fight standing and make it competitive with the grappling. If he does those things, which I think he's going to do, I think he wins the fight. Because, again, when Miocic and Cormier fought the first 2 times, Cormier won the second fight. And Cormier was winning the second fight until he got TKO'd. He got finished. For the third fight, Stipe won the fight. It was a close fight, but he won. In this case, I think you're going to see the same thing with Edwards. Edwards just won the title. He's going to be hungry to keep that title. Usman, I'm not going to say he took Edwards lightly in the second fight. I don't think he did. I just think he happened to get caught. It is what it is. We haven't seen him have the fight through adversity. The closest thing was from the first Colby fight that he had, where most people say if he didn't get the finish, he would have lost that fight if it went the distance, which he would have. I was one of those people saying that. So I think Leon wins this fight by unanimous decision. I don't see a finish happening this time. I think Kamaru will get the better of the grappling again, but I think it will be a lot tighter this time. And I think Kamaru will still not get the better of the stand-up. That's just my opinion. I think keeping the fight in the clinch, maybe holding Kamaru against the cage, because he's actually about the same size, if not a little bit bigger. He's longer. So that's going to help Leon. Make the grappling competitive. I think Leon's good enough to do that for 5 rounds. The altitude clearly hurt him in the second fight. It won't be a factor because it's not happening, and he's at home. I think you'll see more of a chess match. It might be a boring fight for 5 rounds, but Leon gets the better of this by unanimous decision.